Hi, so this is the first part of 3.1. So we're going to start with graphing and looking at some linear equations today. So first of all, a linear equation is an equation that forms a line when it is graphed, right? So if you look at this term, linear equation, first of all, the fact that it's an equation, right, is in the name. And the word linear means it forms a line when you graph it, right? So that's a linear equation. Now, how do you know if an equation is linear? Well, first and foremost, to be linear, x and y can only have powers of 0 or 1, right? So for example, if you have something like x squared, that is not a linear equation. Next, x and y cannot be multiplied by each other. Lastly, x and y cannot be in the denominator. So for example, if you have x over y, not okay. 1 over x, not okay. But suppose you have, x over 2, this is okay because your denominator is not an x, it's a number. So that's okay. All right, so all three of these equations here are linear. Okay? So these are linear. Look at that, x to the 1, y to the 1, y to the 1, x to the 1, y to the 1. You don't have x and y multiplied to each other. They're not in the denominator. These are examples of equations that are not linear. And this first one is not linear because the x is in the denominator. This is not linear because x and y are multiplied together. This last one is not linear because you have x to the power of 2, something other than 1. Okay, so let's take a look here at which of these are linear. We're going to write yes or no. The first case, definitely linear. Here, this is not linear because x is squared. This one is not linear because you have y in the denominator. This one, yes, it's linear because it's y to the 1. Here, x to the 1, y to the 1, yes, it's linear. Here you have exponents of 1, but this is not linear because you have x times y multiplied with each other. This is linear. This one, because of the 3, not linear. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about intercepts. An intercept, right, is very useful when you're trying to graph equations. So the x coordinate of the point where the equation crosses the x-axis is called the x-intercept. And it is written as x comma 0. So since this is the x-intercept, you have the x value and the other value is 0. So for example, it could be something like 5 comma 0, right? If this is a coordinate xy, the x-intercept, I don't know, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, it goes away. All right, so the x-intercept has a number and the other one has a 0. The x-coordinate has a number. Okay, so here, the y-coordinate at the point at which the equation crosses the y-axis is the y-intercept. So look at this one. You have a number at the y-coordinate, and this is the y-intercept, right? So for example, it could be 0, comma 2, right? If this is x and y, you have 0 for the x, and you have a non-zero value for the y because it's the y-intercept. So let's talk about what x-intercept and y-intercept actually are. If you have a graph that looks like this, here, this is the x-intercept because it crosses the x-axis there. Okay? At the x-intercept, look at this. What's the y-coordinate? Well, it's 0. So to find the x-intercept, you have to let y equal 0 and solve for x. Now, the y-intercept is this point where it hits the y-axis. Over there, what's the x-coordinate? 0. So to find the y-intercept, we let x equal 0 and we solve for y. Okay, so let's do a few examples here. So here, to find the x-intercept, we're going to say let y equal 0. So in this case, this is going to be 2x plus 3 times y, or 3 times 0 is equal to 12. 2x is equal to 12. And then divide by 2, divide by 2, x equals 6. So the x-intercept is 6, 0, right? Because this is the x-intercept, it goes in the x-coordinate. For the y-intercept, we're going to say let x equal 0. So now in the equation, we're going to put 0 for x. We're going to say 2 times 0 plus 3y is equal to 12. 3y is equal to 12. Divide by 3 on both sides. So y is equal to 4. And as our answer, this time, because that's the y, it's going to go in the y spot, and the other one is going to be 0. So for your answer, right, you have two answers, this and this. All right, so continuing, for this one, let's find the x-intercept. We're going to say let y equal 0. By the way, all the stuff I'm writing, let y equal 0, this is not for decoration. You need to write them yourself because this is how you're going to prompt yourself on what to do. So I want to see all this on your homework, on your test, everything. All right? So here we go. If y equals 0, then I have 0 equals half x minus 4. I'm going to add 4. So 4 equals half x. Then here, multiply by 2. So 8 is equal to x. Right? So here, the x coordinate gets the 8 and the other one gets the 0. Okay, next one. For the y-intercept, we're going to let x equals 0. So y equals half times 0 minus 4. Y equals minus 4. That's it, we're done. The minus 4 goes in the y coordinate, and this is going to be 0. Okay. That's how you find x and y-intercept if you're given the equation. Now let's see how you find it when you're given the graph. So remember, the x and the y-intercept are where the graph crosses the x-axis or the y-axis. So this point where the graph crosses the x-axis, this is the x-intercept. And the way in which we write it is we say 4, 0. The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, right there. So over there, the y-coordinate is 200, the x-coordinate is 0, and y is 200. Okay, how about if you have a table? Remember, for the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate, right? For the x-intercept and the y-intercept, either the x or the y have to be 0. So look at this one. We have one here where one of the variables is 0. Here we have another one where the variables is 0. So for this first one, when x is 0, this is the y-intercept. For this one, when y is 0, this is the x-intercept. So the y-intercept is 0, 200. The x-intercept is 500, 0. Okay? All right, we can also graph we can use the x-intercept and the y-intercept to graph an equation. So why don't we do that here? We're going to graph by using the intercepts. So first we have to find intercepts. Okay, x-intercept. Let y equals 0. 2x minus 4 times 0 equals 12. 2x equals 12. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X is 6. So the x-intercept is 6, 0. Next one, for the y-intercept, we're going to let x equals 0. So 2 times 0 minus 4y equals 12. Negative 4y equals 12. Divide by minus 4, right? So what's y then? Negative 3. So this is 0, negative 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph these. The y-intercept is 0, negative 3. The x-intercept is 6, 0. And then you're going to connect these for your graph. And on the homework, you're going to use a ruler in order to make these straight. Okay, let's do another one. X-intercept, let y equals 0. Now, minus 2. Multiply by 2. Negative 4 equals x. So here it's negative 4, 0. Here we go. This is this one. So now y equals half times 0 plus 2. Y equals 2, so that's 0, 2. That goes here. X-intercept is at negative 4. Use a ruler. Make sure you go through the points. Cool. Lastly, this one. For the x-intercept, let y equals 0. 0 minus 2x equals 5. Negative 2x equals 5. Divide by minus 2. X is negative 5 over 2, and that's okay. We can have fractions, right? That's fine. Okay, y-intercept. Let x equals 0. So y minus 2 times 0 equals 5. Y equals 5. Okay, so where's y equals 5? And then x equals negative 5 over 2. Now that's the same as negative 2.5, right? So there we go, right there. You go in between the lines. That's okay. And then graph with a ruler. Okay. All right. So we can actually use our graphing calculator for x and y intercepts as well. All right. So for this one, look at this. We have this equation. We're going to solve for y, and we're going to enter the function into the TI Nspire. So why don't we take it slow? Why don't we do that one first? So here, we're going to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 2.3x. Okay. So I get 2y is 4.6 minus 2.3x. Now, I'm going to divide by 2. And remember, I can divide this whole side by 2 together. So what do I get for y? 4.6 minus 2.3x all over 2. Now, this is just an intermediate step, so you can plug into your calculator. So for this, you do not need to simplify. This is good enough. All right, so what we're going to do next is you're going to grab your calculator. Okay? You're going to press the on button to turn it on. You're going to press the calculator button to the left once, twice to get a calculator, to get a graph. Okay, you might not be able to see this F1. To be able to see the F1, press tab and you will definitely see it. Now, in F1, you're going to type in this equation that you just came up with. This has a fraction. So you're going to do control, division, and that gives you, oh, sorry, my cursor isn't here. Control, divide for the fraction. So here in the numerator, we're going to put 4.6 minus, let me try that again, 4.6 minus 2.3x. X is in your alphabetic keyboard at the very, very bottom. Then on the bottom in the denominator, press down to go into the denominator. It's 2. Press enter, and there you have it. That's your graph. Okay? So now, what we're going to do is we're going to trace this, and we're going to find the x and y intercepts. By the way, over here, this is, I just realized this is the negative graph. So the one we graphed is correct. This one is the negative, so don't mind that. Okay, so take a look at what we're going to do. We're here, okay? Step 2. You're going to click menu on your calculator. Menu on the right-hand side. You get all these options. To go to one of these options, you can either scroll to it, you can click the down button, or we want option number 5, so I can just press 5 for trace. We're going to trace our graph. Then you press 1, you select the first one for graph trace. Okay, now, here, back to the notes. By using the left and right arrow buttons, you can move the cursor. So look, if I keep pressing the right arrow button, don't do it too quickly, go one at a time, you can move the cursor. So look, the point where I am now has coordinates. You can see bottom right of your screen, 0.6, 1.61. So keep clicking the right arrow button one by one, and look, your cursor moves. Don't go too fast. One more, one more, one more, and again. And look at that. You see how it had labeled it 0? When it labels it 0, that's another word for x-intercept. That's where it just hit the x-axis. So the x-intercept of this is 2, 0, right? So let's write that here. X-intercept is 2, 0. I can write it later. And then let's move it to the left this time. Look at that. The y-intercept is 0, 2.3. Okay? Okay, so why don't we do a couple of these here? All right, here we go. Let's solve this one. So subtract 2.1x. So this is going to be negative y equals 10.6 minus 2.1x. Now, this is a negative y, which I don't want. So divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. Y is 10.6 minus 2.1 x over negative 1. You know what? Let's do this one by graphing. So let's go to the graph, the calculator. I want to clear this. To clear it, your best thing to do is press the dock button I'm sorry, I said that completely wrong. Press the dock button and dock B, and it clears for you. So now press the calculator button, press tab if you have to, okay? Press tab, here we are. Okay, so again, I'm gonna get a fraction. In the numerator, 10.6 minus 2.1x. Down for the denominator, -1. There you have it. Okay. So now, how are we going to do the intercepts? Menu, 5 for trace, 1 for graph trace. And look, it already moved it down here, right? So let's move like left or right. It looks like it moved away. Bring it back. Look at that. The y-intercept is 0, -10.6. So 0, -10.6. This is the y-intercept. So you kind of have to like use your cursors, go left, right, one by one until you hit those key points and it will label it for you. So let's go further now to the right, all the way up. Okay, once you get close, go slowly. You don't want to miss it. The 0, right, is the same. 0 is the same as x-intercept. 5.05 comma 0. That's the x-intercept. Okay, so you can do the rest either by hand or with a calculator. Like for example, look at C. Actually, I might just do that by hand, right? So for the x-intercept, I would let y equal 0. So I would do 2 over 3 times 0 is equal to -4 over 5x plus 1. 0 is -4 over 5x plus 1. Let's do -1. -1 is -4 over 5x. And what do we do when we have x multiplied by a fraction? Multiply by the reciprocal. So 5 over 4 is equal to x. That means my x-intercept is 5 over 4, 0. And you can go ahead and do the y-intercept. Okay? All right. So we are going to stop here. You have enough right now to do the worksheet. You have to complete the worksheet and complete it and bring it to class next time to get a stamp and to turn it in. All right? So do the worksheet. You're going to be turning in the next class. All right. Have a good day.